I hate things going to waste, and with the bridal industry, it's such a fine line, and unfortunately, I think a lot of brands are using, not bridal brands, but a lot of brands are using the eco-friendly kind of fashion.
Join the movement. Change what you can with the MG ZS EV.
We've, just been through this and still going through this pandemic, but I'm hoping that the worst is over. So during this time, I just wanted to know what were your thoughts? What was the thought process? What was the steering of, strategies that you might have thought of? Tina, maybe we should begin with you.
So you'd like me to start?
Yes, please.
So we pretty much shut like before Mr. Modi declared the official lockdown, because we could see how dangerous the whole situation was becoming. And one really amazing thing that happened for us is that we've been working on our e-commerce website.
Amazing.
So pretty much like at the end of March, I mean, we had a lot more planned to launch, but we just decided it seems to be like it would go on forever. We launched the website, so it was extremely exciting for us. And it was extremely exciting to like work in this remote way to actually launch this website pretty much from all over India, because all our girls ran back parents' homes like Dhanbad,
Right.
Delhi, etc. And to me, actually, the timing couldn't have been better, because really, I think for any brand, a huge part of the voice now has to be digital. So I can share more about that with you. As far as the physical stores were concerned, we reopened in the first week of June. I was just chatting with Kresha. She actually beat out, so she opened in the last week of May by appointment only. So initially when we started in June, it was by appointment. But now we, essentially what we've done is we're open every day. But we divided our teams into teams, because we can't take the chance of like anyone contracting COVID and having to shut down the store. But touch wood, we've been extremely lucky so far. And we have noticed a big difference in like June was very, very tough and people were very scared. As far as July was concerned, July into August and September, Kresha, I'm sure you'll agree with me. The fear factor is coming down. And the other thing is that people have decided, it's always been said that the big fat Indian wedding will bail out the fashion industry.
True.
And I will say that in the middle of COVID, is because a lot of people have just decided it doesn't matter if they're just 50 people at the wedding or 100 people, but we are going ahead with our November, December wedding. And even though it is a fraction of what it was, because in the past, friends would shop and, everyone would be shopping for destinations and there would be 8 functions, and now it's very cut down. But we do see in some way, some activity and some revival. And I'll hand over to Kresha now. We can talk about the different, segments and the future and all later. I'm just telling you what happened to us.
Amazing.
So I think in terms of our experience as well, it was very similar. We, went into lockdown and it was extremely scary because I just launched, I think, the biggest collection of my life in December, which was Acropora, which I had been working on.
So close to your heart.
Yeah, which I had been working on for an entire year. And we were really excited about it. And then all of this happened. So it was extremely scary. Like Tina said, we had to, figure out a way to send all our karigars back home, and they were from like tiniest villages, some of which I didn't even knew existed. And we did a few very interesting things. I'll save the best for last, but we did a Care for Karigar initiative with another brand, and we raised around 40 lakhs for the Karigar. So that was really amazing.
That's amazing.
Come and support. And apart from that, we also have now launched this initiative which is extremely close to my heart called Fairy Tale Funnel. Because during the pandemic, we were really trying to figure out what our clients need. Now we are a brand, and a lot of people come here and they say, "Oh, you're so expensive," or I really wish I could afford one of your lehengas." And workmanship and quality is not something I would ever want to compromise on. So we thought, what can we do to make life a little easier for our clients? What can we do to be more accessible? And also, what can we do to empower women? Like, you don't want a girl to rely on her husband or on her dad to buy her the outfit she wants. So, Fairy Tale Funding is basically a very simple EMI program where you can get the outfit of your dreams, anything above 50,000. So, whether it's a dress for your first date or for graduation, or a lehenga for your wedding, you can buy whatever you want and worry about paying it off in the next 2 years. And also for people,
That's incredible.
so it's a 24-month plan, and we've tied up with a bunch of banks for this. And even people, say for example, even a person who has money set aside and has the budget for a piece, weddings can be such a high stress situation in the house and so many different expenses. So if it's something that makes your life easier, it will always help. So of course there was that. And even in terms of the trend, like Tina mentioned, the last few months you have seen more people come in, more people, like less scared, buying more. But also something that happened which was truly crazy and unexpected was brides who initially came with, say, X amount of budget have now come back with X multiplied by 3 or multiplied by 5.
Wow.
And for the longest time, we couldn't understand it. And I just happened to ask one of my brides, and she said, I don't have 5 functions anymore. I have 1 function. I don't have any other expenses in terms of logistics. So I guess this is the one thing they really have to look forward to. Yeah, and like Tina mentioned, I think the lehenga is what's saving the day currently.
That's true. I actually have clients from the US, who are, in fact, I think that might be an amazing market for you guys because they can't fly down anymore. And, to be able to virtually shop and to create that environment for them would be pretty interesting.
Really, Ami. So you have people contacting you from the US saying they're getting married and how do they get clothes?
Yeah. And I mean, literally, they can, for them to come to a stylist who knows, like literally, if I need anything from Ensemble, if I need anything from one of the designers, like I remember contacting Kresha for something, it's just easy for them to, it's easy access. And measurements can be done online and shipping can be done. So it's, that I think is a market that definitely needs to be tapped into according to me. So what's your experience with that?
So actually, it's been very interesting for me. I was really waiting to see like what sells, honestly. And granted, we have launched in the middle of the pandemic, so a lot of our sales are ready to wear. But it's incredible. We're selling lehengas, and we're shipping lehengas to Australia. We're shipping heavy sarees to Canada. So there's definitely a demand. And I, in my wildest dreams, did not think someone would spend like this on this kind of an outfit. But they are. And I think it really depends on how you service them and how the piece arrives. And is it as per expectations? And if it is, then honestly, like you said, this is a huge market waiting to be tapped, and we've had really good experiences with customers so far. Like people are coming back and doing repeat shopping, etc. So I think you're right. I think this is going to be a big one.
Amazing. And initially, I think they had that, the luxury of coming down to India for a few days. I had a bride who was, came down in December. She was going to get married in Paris in May. And now she's getting married in the US. And, things are really seamless. And I think the kind of quality and luxury of service, the luxury service that both of you offer can be a huge benefit from this. Kresha, what would you say about this?
Coming back to what you said, I really think that's the most important, creating your brand and your brand story and not deviating for anything else is the only thing that's going to matter. And I think these are also the only brands that are going to sustain, when you really stick to your brand ethos. In terms of virtual consultations, it's actually been great. We have not been a brand that has ever gone online or ever been available anywhere else because, like I mentioned, I want to be able to control the narrative and the user's journey. Everything from the smell or the essence to the way they serve their coffee to every little detail. But during this pandemic, we, had a lot of virtual consultations, and exactly like Tina said, UK and Australia and the UAE are three of the biggest markets, apart from Hong Kong and Malaysia as well. But we get very technical when we do these consultations. We first get into, figuring out a person's body shape, exactly what it falls under, going into seeing what is that one outfit that they always turn to. We all have one outfit which we always pick up on a bad day, and we always feel that we look good in it, and identify, is that because of the neckline or the silhouette or the cut. And then what we do is the undertone test. So you have to look at your veins and see if you have a warm undertone or a cool undertone or a neutral undertone. And then the last thing is get them to go into their mom, dad, sister, brother's closet, put out every color under the sun, photograph themselves with the color. And then we identify the main thing, which is the silhouette, the color, and then the work. And we send out a toile and we ship the outfits. And again, it's been extremely seamless. Sometimes even more seamless than when people are actually coming in person. So it's been a great learning, when you have to do things because you don't have a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me about this undertone test.
So if you have to look at your veins. If your veins are green, then you have a warm undertone. If your veins look blue or purple, then you have a cool undertone. And if it's not really green or not really blue or purple, then you have a neutral undertone. So it really helps.
Warm undertone, then what colors would you recommend?
So warm colors, usually any color that has a hint of warm in it, right? So for example, say we have pink, you have a cool pink, which is a kind of icy pink. And then you have a warm pink, which would have a little bit of coral or a little bit of red or a little bit of yellow. So anything with that undertone would always make you look nicer. And then of course we can go according to the color wheel, and whatever is opposite in your color palette looks the most vibrant on you. But then again, I feel the best way to do it is the mirror test. Because that really shows you, in different lights how you look. Because what happens is sometimes you buy a dress and you wear it in the store and you think it's looking great. And then you see yourself in a picture and you wonder why you're looking pale or why you're looking very gray. And it's the lighting and the undertone and the color all together.
So what exactly is the mirror test then?
So the mirror test is where you take different colors, put it against your skin here, see what works, and then photograph it in different light.
Okay. Yeah. Which is outdoors and indoors.
Yeah, white light, yellow light, yeah. Outdoors, natural light.
Wow, Kresha, that sounds like technical art, marriage of art and fashion and science, which sounds so interesting.
But it's so important, when you think about it.
Absolutely, even gold as a color, it has warm undertones and cool undertones. So exactly. That definitely depends on it. So, great.
So, one more thing I'd like to say, which I think is emerging and the world is changing because of this pandemic, is I think honestly, and Kresha, you please tell me if I'm on the right track, because You must meet a lot of these young girls. But I feel that this whole, I think people are thinking a little bit more about the earth and where the pandemic came from. And I think there might be some gravitation towards more responsible fashion, I think, and more sustainable fashion, for sure.
For sure. And that, honestly, I'm really glad you brought this up, Tina, because that is something that I encourage my clients to think about. And I did before, but now even more so. And I think as thought leaders, we really should push them in that direction, because I know designers have, options available, but it's just up to us as stylists or as designers to, kind of get them to open their minds to that as well. So for me, I mean, for a bride in her trousseau or in any of her functions, I make sure that there's one weave or there's something which is, helpful, rather than just buying, something that goes back to the country. So that's, I'm glad you brought that up.
I think,
but
one of the things we're focusing on right now is something that we're calling the rewear revolution. So we'll actually show clients how to rewear their pieces and style them with different things. So that you don't just, especially in this crazy Instagram world where once you've taken a photograph in an outfit, then you don't want to repeat it. Like, actually, I think that's very uncool, And I think encouraging people to wear things a lot and to wear them differently each time so that you get a different take out of it. Sorry, Kresha, I interrupted you.
No, Tina, what you said is amazing. It's actually the reason I came up with the love story lehenga, because I hate things going to waste, and with the bridal industry, it's such a fine line, and unfortunately, I think a lot of brands are using, not bridal brands, but a lot of brands are using the eco-friendly kind of fashion as, just a way to make their brand look a certain way, or there's a lot of greenwashing happening. I think it's really important to educate people or educate our clients about how you can be responsible about fashion. Investing in classic pieces, timeless pieces, something that is quality over fast fashion, getting frivolous purchases, and really investing in something that you will cherish not just for your lifetime, but for 3 generations to come. And like you said, reusing pieces. And at the end of the day, being, a bridal designer or being a brand that does use silk, we use tulle, we do use fabrics that are not considered eco-friendly, but it's also the carbon footprint that comes into play. We've been releasing 1 to 2 collections maximum every single year, which is so great. And everyone used to think that, this is crazy. When is a new collection coming out? But the world is changing. Gucci announced they'll be doing only 2 collections a year, which are going to be seasonless, which I think is amazing. Imagine spending lakhs of rupees on a Chanel handbag, and then 6 months later it's not cool anymore and it's outdated. And we're moving away from that, as a world and as a population, which I think is amazing. So I definitely think there's a trend of people being more conscious about, purchasing things for a need as opposed to a want.
Sorry to interrupt, but digitization definitely is the way to go. So is sustainability. In terms of numbers, when do you think the Indian market will really sort of recover the losses that it perhaps made during the lockdown?
Okay, I think that's really tough to assess right now. But as I mentioned, from May to this month, you can see the numbers growing already. And you can see that, especially with the wedding industry, that a girl always dreams of herself in a particular outfit. And no matter what the situation is, she still wants to look a certain way. And we luckily came out of demonetization and we came out of, the earlier recession. So I'm hoping that we're able to get our groove back up again, but I don't know exactly when, hopefully sooner than later.
Ami, Tina, what are your thoughts on it?
I agree with Kresha. It's a very, very hard question to answer. But I think these are opportunities to rethink your business model. But it's very, very seldom you have like this kind of break, where like you're not going to work and you're not on the treadmill like every single day. Because everybody knows fashion is a tricky, tough business and you have to be on it like every day, right? So I think one good thing is that you can reimagine the businesses to come back a little different from what they were before the pandemic. And I think that, you have to be nimble and think out of the box. I think at this stage, like Kresha said, it's really about getting back to equilibrium, feeling safe going to work, paying your people, having the working capital kind of rotating nicely. I think everybody's doing right now. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that month on month will get better, and hopefully by maybe first quarter next year we should be, in reasonably good shape. But we should be different businesses because we spent this time.
Ami, what do you have to say?
Yeah, so definitely it's hard to judge. I mean, I don't think recovering the losses is something that is on people's mind. I think it's more about, just reinvention and adapting. And I truly believe that fashion is not something, I mean, like for what happened in the 1920s, there is going to be a time when it's going to change, right? So we need to see this through, like Tina said, by making sure that we, we support our people and we help each other through this. And I'm very, very optimistic about the fact that things are going to change. There's so much. India is filled with youth. Nobody wants to just sit down at home and, they want to explore, they want to go out and they're waiting. There's so much creativity, there's so much energy. And, once these things come under control, I don't know when, but you keep hearing these different, 2000 and, early 2021, mid 2021, but it's definitely going to change. So that's what I just feel that you need to explore all the possibilities right now and adapt until things boom again.
Okay, and talking about youth, I think it's time to take some questions.
And also, I really do, I think the takeaway that Tina said is when things go back to normal, they'll never go back to the way they used to be. There will be changes, which is great, which I'm sure, will benefit everyone.
Hello, my name is Devangi Chopra and I'm currently studying fashion business at Instituto Marangoni, Mumbai. It is such an honor to be able to ask you these questions and I'm so excited to know your thoughts. So my first question is for Kresha. I personally love your designs and I know that you went to fashion school as well. So back when you were still in fashion school and you were still learning, exploring and developing your skills, what were your early influences in fashion and how do you think they have evolved over time towards, your present day designs?
I've always been influenced with my experiences in my life. And I think when I started my career, I started with a brand named Kresha. And what I'm doing now are two drastically different things. I'm petite and I have like a soft voice and a baby face, so people never took me seriously. So I went through a very goth phase where I would be in all black and expect people to get a little intimidated and expect people to take me more seriously when I spoke. So when I started my career, that really influenced me. And talking about expression through clothing, dressing to express, never following trends. And then in the middle with the love story lehenga, of course, that kind of changed my world in many ways. And the brand moved from Kresha to Krésha Bajaj, the label. And that also kind of embodies my journey as a person. My rebellious phase got out. I got married. I was very, very happy in my life. Felt like a girl for the first time. And I think that really shows in the transition of the brand.
My next questions are for Tina. So, Ensemble has been a huge part of the fashion industry in India for the longest time. Regarding such a beautiful idea of starting a multi-designer store and being one of the oldest people to have done it, what was your vision and what led to the inception of Ensemble?
Oh, I did talk to Devangi, but I did not start also. So, started by my brother Patel and his wife Sal. I came in, like I'd like to say, like 5 years later. I think that their vision was that they felt that there was incredible talent in India, but that talent was not being given a platform. So, for example, Rohit Khosla worked with Albert Nippon, or Asha Sarabhai was working with Ike Miyake, but nobody had their own label. And they felt that, you know, at that time, the Indias of the late 80s, you always thought the West was better than India. And I think the whole idea was to celebrate the talent that we have locally, believe in it, and give them a platform. And, present retail in a way that it would be organized and beautiful and it would be an experience. Because that didn't exist in India before. So I think these are the two guiding kind of philosophies behind the launch of Ensemble. And I think that, they still pretty much go through today. Like our raison d'etre is to find new designers and promote them, even today. Even though our stalwarts are our stalwarts and we will always stand by them, and they are our sort of rocks of Gibraltar, but we exist because of all the new talent coming up. And so that was one. And, of course, the retail experience is incredibly important now to every brand. So that was the origin.
Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I'm Ayushi Bothra and I'm a second year fashion business student at Instituto Marangoni. Now I'd like to address Tina Tahiliani for my questions. My first question for you is, do you think that this is a good time to start a new business?
I think no time is a bad time, honestly. I think it depends on when you have the calling, when you have that clarity of thought as to what will be the differentiator for your label. Every label occupies a certain place, whether it's the brand philosophy, whether it's the cuts they use, whether it's the pricing, whether it's the brand experience. So I think that I think fashion reflects society. Honestly, if you look at all the various phases of fashion, they've all reflected actually deeply what's going on in sociologically. And I think this is a very interesting time for us sociologically that we are all gone through in 2020. And I think certainly a lot of creativity, like unusual creativity, can come out of this. And I would encourage anybody who has clarity, like please don't come and be a Me Too label or like one, that's not interesting. But yes, Ayushi, you have a clear story, and if you want to bring it to the world, like this is a great time.
Hi, my name is Anushka and I'm from Instituto Marangoni, Mumbai, and I'm studying fashion design. Kresha, how do you deal with critique?
I believe that everyone has their own opinion and everyone has their own taste. And, that's the beauty of life, that people want to be individual. And I think that's also the good thing that has come out of social media, where everyone wants to be different and independent and individual in their own way. So I take it really well. I mean, my best friend would never be caught dead in like any of my pieces, and this is not her style at all, but it is what it is, and that's completely fine.
And Ami, would you sort of now like to ask the last one or two questions to our fab panelists?
Well, I think they've just shared so much, and I so much about them. But I just want to say, Tina, shop is an experience over any of the stores that, I've been to. and you maintain that over the years, in spite, with opening other stores. There's just something, when you step into an ensemble, there is an ensemble-ness. I want to know how, was there a thought process behind that when or like I've seen girls, I've literally, like when I was working at Elle and Lucasciel, I used to see these girls coming in for fittings, and there was just a certain orderliness, and there was just something very, very elevated about the way it, ensemble function. So I want to know where that came from. Like, is it a thought process, or it's just an extension of you and Tarun?
Wow, Ami, that's huge. Like, that is huge. I want to hug you.
It's true, though.
I think that to some extent it's an extension of who we are. But I think also for me, my designers have been my biggest teachers, honestly. Like, I never went to fashion university. I went to like the university of like every Indian designer in India that I worked with. And I think the one thing is that, what's important is to just always think and grow and learn. And so I don't know how to like really strictly answer that, but we're always on a quest. Like, the ensemble of 2020 cannot be the same as the ensemble of 2010 and the ensemble of 2000. But at the same time, there has to be a certain hardcore philosophy about it that never changes. Certain values that we espouse that never change. So,
and it goes with the training, training your staff and training everyone into that as well. So then I'm really looking forward to seeing you online, because I'm sure that's going to, extend into the online version as well, which will be an experience.
That's a whole other universe. I kid you not. Like, I went to online school for 1 year before we launched. And even now, like, every day is a learning.
Wow. Amazing.
So, Tina, when you speak about every day being a learning and going to online schools, what are the lessons in digitization that you have learned and you would be incorporating, especially when for you experience is so important, and even Kresha said that how even for her experience is so important?
I think the most important thing is that your online and digital brand must really reflect your offline brand. Like, I'm always flummoxed when like the website is something and then your online presence is something else. I think you've got to look at it as an extension of who you are offline. And I think you should tell your story. That's what's going to differentiate you. So it's content, content, content.
Ami, you have a very strong presence on Instagram. Kresha, you too. So how do y'all curate your online content?
Ami,
Kresha, I think you should go first, because you are way more creative. And, I was just going through your Insta stories today, and I was like, Kresha always has a story to tell.
Okay, quickly.
Yes, last question.
I'm just an extremely visual person. So to me, content and digital platform has always been extremely important, and especially because I just have one store in one city in one country. I think, and I do it all myself, so that's just comfort to me, because I know sometimes it's tough to delegate and it's tough to get someone else to carry out your vision. But I'm just lazy when it comes to always making sure that we have beautiful content, and it's always about quality, right? Even the quality of your pictures, the quality of what you're posting. So yeah, that's been something that's been important since a really long time.
Ami, that and parting thoughts, please.
Well, one is I do the content myself as well, and honestly, I'm a very heart person, and it just comes through. From the girls I style to what I love doing, it's all about really enjoying what I do, and that's what reflects. Parting thoughts would be, this was just a great learning for me, to spending time with all of you. especially Kresha with her the vein test. I think that was really interesting, and I would love to take, I would love to see Kresha's. I've seen Kresha's offline shopping experience for brides and families, but I would love to take them, and I would love to experience the online version of it, which I'm sure is really special as well. And and Tina, it's more power to Ensemble, and I really do. In fact, I've been thinking of coming there myself one of these days, and getting someone shopping. So
I would love that. Like, please tell me and come when I'm there.
Okay, done. We'll make sure that happens. But yeah, I think I think women power and just creativity. This is the age of creativity. This is the age of the right brain. So I truly am extremely optimistic with the way things are going to turn out, especially with the talent that we have in this country. It's really about Tina, showcasing them and giving them a platform, and Kresha coming out with her individuality and amazing us with her talent. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good future.
And I'm sure it's going to be a good future. And the reason why all of you are here on our top 50, Luxbook top 50 panel is yay to women power and yay to y'all.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.